Hey guys, it's me again. Just a really brief rant today. Um, and it's a topic that I've mentioned before. I probably made a video on this already before, but it just keeps popping up on Twitter when I'm scrolling through Twitter. I see a bunch of these intellectuals, these professing Christians who fancy themselves intellectuals. You know the type. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They try to talk about hermeneutics or whatever else. The context of a specific verse. You know, um, that's fine. I have nothing against that per se. But when it comes to prophecy, and specifically when it comes to the rapture, all bets are off. You're not the last. The last person you need to go to is the intellectual or those who thinks himself to be an intellectual. They try to approach the rapture, in hermeneutically, it's not going to work. As I've explained in previous videos, a lot of the prophecies from the Old Testament that were fulfilled in the New Testament, when the New Testament itself is making a reference back to the prophecy in the Old Testament, when you read the passage they're referring to, it's like almost not related. Well, there's no almost about it. It's like completely unrelated to what just happened. Like, the Bible will say something like, oh, and so this prophecy was fulfilled, or however way it's worded. And then you go back to the reference in the Old Testament, and you're like, what the heck? What does this have to do with this? How is this event a fulfillment of that? Like if you read the passage it's referring to. It's not something that you can figure out hermeneutically, is what I'm trying to say, especially when it comes to prophecy. And especially when it comes to the rapture. And you have a bunch of these wannabe intellectuals on Twitter or X, whatever, and their job is to try to rebuke us for getting excited about the rapture, like when it's close or we're looking at certain dates. Now, I used to have nothing against dates. I still don't per se, but I do have something against the watchmen who don't point us directly to the Lord for revelation. I talk about that. I talk about that every single video almost. I do believe that we can know the day and the hour, but we will get that revelation directly from Jesus. And he will let us know ahead of time, and I believe we are that generation. But my point is right now is that these self-proclaimed Bible scholars, teachers, or whatever, I don't care if they have an actual degree anywhere, when it comes to the rapture, they don't know squat. And their only job is to basically tell us to stop looking because it's not going to happen that soon. What they're trying to say is that if they, who are the smartest of us all, can't figure it out, and if they can't know, then no way are the rest of us mortals going to know. Because if they can't figure it out, then neither can we. So we best listen to what they have to say, their little breakdowns, their little hermeneutic, their little contextual analysis of whatever passage it is we're looking at. And then all it is to try to discourage us from looking up. Just, hey, listen to them smart guys. They're not that excited. There's nothing to see here, folks. Listen to the smart ones. And if they say it's not close, then it's not close. That's one side of the coin. And the other side of the coin are pastors who do try to milk the rapture. And as I've said many times before, they have nothing against the rapture as long as it's always on the horizon. They like to talk about it like, oh yeah, it can happen any minute. But as long as we don't get too excited about it and take it literally, they're fine with it. But when they start seeing us getting really excited, they start to worry. Because the more we focus on Jesus, the more we focus on our escape, our rescue from this evil world, then there's a direct connection to how much money they're getting in their so-called ministries. When people realize that our hope is not in making this world better by trying to Christianize it, and that it's actually not going to work out that way, the sooner people realize that, the better we are as a body of Christ. And pastors absolutely hate that, because they love mammon, they love their prestige, they love the money they get from all the tithes. They want to be Jesus, literally. They want us to focus on them rather than Jesus. Jesus is just a product to them. And when we start looking to the blessed hope, our very near blessed hope coming into fruition, they panic. And if you just take a look around you, almost, most of the people who are rebuking us for getting excited are not non-believers, but rather those who are in ministry, those who get paid for doing their ministry, pastors, or those who ask for donations on YouTube or on Twitter. As long as the rapture is just something that we dream about, it's always on the horizon and never actually happening, they're okay with that. They'll talk a big game like Jack Hibbs does. As I mentioned in my previous video, you listen to some sound bites from Jack Hibbs, you'd think he's all gung-ho for the rapture. But no, it's just a money-making topic for him. And his message is always, nobody knows the day and the hour. And that passage has nothing to do with the rapture. And Satan has done a great job brainwashing generations that it's referring to the rapture when it's not. We will know the day and the hour. Maybe not that far ahead before the actual rapture, but we will know it. And those who worship mammon, it's their number one priority to make sure we're not looking up. Why? Because they're wolves in sheep's clothing. They're very convincing, they're very charismatic, but I believe the Bible when it says that we cannot serve two masters. We cannot serve both God and mammon. And these guys serve mammon, therefore they can't possibly be serving God. So keep looking up, guys. The pre-tribulation rapture is under heavy, heavy attack. Lots of mocking. More than I've ever experienced my whole life as a Christian. Things are different today. It's not like it was 20 years ago. The mocking is heavy, the mocking is constant, and it's coming from within the church. And when I say the church, I'm talking about the visible church, not necessarily the body of Christ, but those who are professing to be Christians. They are the number one mockers of the rapture. But do not lose hope, guys. It's going to get darker. We're going to get more desperate. But we need to look to the Lord for that direct revelation. We need to stop watching these watchmen guys, which are essentially golden calves. Because of our faithlessness, we don't think that we can get direct revelation from the Lord. So we're putting our hope and faith in these self-proclaimed watchmen who act like they have a direct line to heaven, like the Lord's giving them play-by-play on where the rapture is at exactly. No, our only source of revelation is Jesus himself, and he will gladly give that to us. We just need to be faithful and just slay the golden calves. I've been saying this message for well over half a year now, and I know I look like a fool, but I don't care. I'm not here to impress you, but I am here to try to encourage those of us who are truly watching and looking for his glorious appearing. There's not that many of us. You look at Twitter and you're going to see a lot of people who seem like they're excited for the rapture, but I think they're just only in it for the social activity, interaction with other so-called believers. It's like their Hakuna Matata. And yes, I did a video on that. The rapture is not a Hakuna Matata to just get us through the day and, think happy thoughts. No, it's a very real thing. And as we look for it and as we wait and wait, the despair grows. That is the nature of actually watching. Not just pretending to watch and being jovial with everybody else. No, there's actual despair when it comes to looking for the rapture. And I believe we are that generation, and that despair is getting worse. And we should absolutely embrace that despair, because that is part of the birth pangs. And we know that our redemption draws closer than ever. So thank you guys for tuning in. That's my message. Keep looking up. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope there won't be a next time.